In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the loop script in FileMaker, and more specifically, how you can work through a large amount of data automatically, just like this. Hey, what is up everybody? Welcome to another FileMaker beginner tutorial. My name is Sunny Chu, and today we are going to talk about the loop script in FileMaker. And as you can see at the start of this video, that the loop script is extremely powerful when you are using it to work through a large amount of data. Because the loop script can take one of your simple commands and loop it over and over again to go through each of the records in your database, making it a really powerful automation tool. But before I begin this tutorial though, I want to give you a little bit of the background of what inspired this tutorial. And so the topic I would like to discuss is, why do you want to learn how to loop, and what is the real life application to using loop, and why is it so good? Now, I want to share with you a little personal experience of mine, and as some of you might know that I first started learning FileMaker back in 2013. And at that time, I was kind of working as like a junior manager in a factory, and I have built this FileMaker solution over the course of 3 months, trying to improve the production line in helping them manage the inventory a little bit better. Now, I've spent a lot of time working on this, and you can see I was so proud with myself that I even took a picture of that solution on an iPad. But that's another story. But basically, this solution right here was ready to be launched, and I know that if I launch this, it's going to be really good, because it can absolutely improve the production line's productivity by a lot, and we have a much more organized operation, which is going to bring me maybe a promotion or at the very least a salary raise. But there's one problem that is stopping me from achieving this goal, and that problem is there's a lot of historical data in the company. So to illustrate this problem a little bit better, so I was working in kind of like a manufacturing environment. So we have a product name, for example, like iPhone X, and they also have SKU, which is kind of like a product code. So for example, this is called IP/X. Now, super important, I don't work in Foxconn, I don't produce iPhone stuff. It's just a metaphor of the situation that is easier for you to understand. But at that time, because the company have quite a bit of history already, about 20 years before that, so a lot of the data in there, it's having some sort of discrepancy. So what I mean is, for example, let's say 2005, this iPhone X, the SKU is called IP/X. But in 2013, we actually have an updated SKU, let's call it IP/10, but they're still exactly nearly the same product. So in order for me to apply the launch of that solution to the to the production line and have accurate data, I need to make sure all the old data are updated correctly to the new format, which by itself is not a big problem, except when you think about the long history of that company, there is about 20,000 historical records that I need to clean up. And if I have to do it manually, it's going to take me a whole lifetime to work on it. And there's no way I have the patience to work through them one by one. So at this point in time, I need to come up with a solution to clean up all the old data. So this is where the concept of when I start to learn about the loop, and this is where loop script is so powerful. And let's start the tutorial. And so we are back to the desktop, and let me open up the file that we are going to be working on in this tutorial. Now, this is basically an imitation of the situation that I had when I was building the solution for the factory. And we have a product code here, product here, and date and sales amount. Now, these two fields is not super important. It's more for like decoration. But what I want you to focus on is this database here is a little bit rigged. So basically in here I have iPhone X, and the product code is IP10. But some other iPhone X has the product code of IPX. So I need to update the old one, the IPX, into the new IP10 style. And I have to work through all these data to find all the iPhone 10 item and update the SKU. And this is where loop can comes in really handy. And I want to show you the basics of how to work with loop first. So let's go to script, and we're going to create a new scripts in here. So let's call this loop basics. So basically in FileMaker there is a script that's called loop, which is super useful. Now when I create this loop, press enter, you will notice that it created a loop and an end loop for me. Basically what this means is that if I give some space between the loop and the end loop, anything that is happening in between them is going to happen over and over again until I tell it to stop. So let me show you an example. If I write in here a show custom dialog, and let's just call it hello, and click OK. Now when I run this script, it's going to have a problem, so don't try this at your own computer. But I'm just showing you for the sake of scientific exploration. So let's play this and see what happens. It's going to say hello. When I click OK, it's going to keep saying hello over and over again, like this. So what I need to do now is I need to find a way to force quit my FileMaker and try to reboot everything. So give me a second. Okay, and I just force quit the FileMaker and reopen everything again. And so as you can see in here that this loop script is able to help us perform something over and over again, and this is one of the really powerful things you can do with FileMaker, because there's something that I can show you. So for example, if I want to use this loop script to work through all the records in here, I need a way for me to instruct the script so that it goes like first record, second record, third record, fourth record, so on and so forth, and keep going down this direction. So what I can do in here is that I can create a loop that says go to record. So in between loop and end loop, I'm going to add a go to record here, and I'm going to make it go to the next record. Now if I run this script again, because I don't have a way to tell it to stop the loop, it's going to run forever and ever. But let me just show you what's happening. So I'm clicking onto the first record of out of this 200 record, and when I run the script, you're going to notice that it goes all the way to the bottom, and this loop is still running, and as you can see from my loading icon in my mouse. So let me try and stop this by clicking exit. So right now, after running through the script, I'm in the 200th record. Now what is happening is that I want to show you in slow motion, so I'm going to update my script just a little bit. I'm going to add another line here called pause. That's pause for like 0.05 seconds every time. So what I'm going to do now is that it's going to pause for 0.05 seconds, and then it's going to go to the next record, pause for a bit, go to the next record, so you can visually see what is happening behind the scene with this loop. So let's click play, and you can notice that the script is automatically going down each record every single time. Now of course, because just now I wasn't actually pausing the script, so it's actually going straight to 200 record because all the thing happens in an instant. Now we are now reaching the end of all the record at the 200th record, but this script is still running, as you can see from my blinking mouse. And to stop it, I will need to spam the exit button, and let's hope for the best. And it's not quite working. Well, it's working now. So I have successfully created the loop. Now, so at least you at this point in time, you know what the basic concept of loop is that it will help you repeatedly do action over and over again if you place the action between loop and end loop. And this is the part where I want to go back to my PowerPoint, and I want to show you the 4 steps of loop. Now there's 4 key important elements that we need to have to set up a loop correctly, and I call them the S.A.S.I. S.A.S.I. And they stand for start, action, stop, and increment. So I'm going to show you exactly how to set up these 4 things in the loop properly. So if I just place this 4-step acronym on the side, and let me go back to the script in here. Just now we have already set up 2 of the 4 action in here. These are the actions. So if I use a command to show here, these are the action. This area here is the action. And we also have a way of incrementing. So we're going to the next record. So every time we did the action, it goes to the next record, and then did the action, go to the next record. And the action right now, it's only pausing the script 0.05 seconds. But the increment is the go to the next record. Now, I want to show you how to stop the loop. There's if you're using the go to record script, there's actually an exit after last option. If I click on and I try everything again, and maybe I can speed up this by pausing less often, pausing for a much shorter time. And let me go back to the first record and run this script again. So this time, the only difference is I added exit after last as on. And if I run this script now, it's going to go like to the bottom as usual. Now, when it goes all the way down to the 200th record, which is going to be in probably 3, 2, 1, and I think it's almost there. Now, when it reaches the 200th record, which is the end of all your existing record found set, then it's going to stop. And that's because we have set this as an exit after last. So this loop is going to exit whenever we reach the final record inside our current found set. So for example, if I search iPhone S in here, I have 23 records. It's going to stop at the 23rd record in here. So if I run this script again, it's going to stop when it reaches the last record of our found set. So it's very important to note about this. So what I want to continue is I've just shown you how to action, stop, and increment. But now, if you look into my database right now, I'm currently, let's say I'm in the 16th record here. If I run this script right now, it's going to start looping at the 16th script instead of from this first one. And this is not thorough. We need to set a starting point. I want the script to always run and then go to the first record to make sure I go through every record inside my current found set of my database. So what I can do is I can set a start action in here, which is before I start the loop, I always go to the first record. Go to record first, and if I click this now, even if I'm in the 20th record, if I click play, you'll notice that it briefly blinks back to number 1 and then start the loop. So overall, what I did in here, if I have the right comment, okay, 4-step, start, action, stop, increment. This is the starting point. And we created the loop, and we put the action in here, which is just pausing right now. And we have increment method in here. Increment method is go to the next record, and then also we have a stopping mechanics in here, exit after last. So together, these 4 things is the fundamental building blocks of how you can create a loop in FileMaker. So that's the basic concept, and let's get back to my original situation where I have to update my old factory's look at here. So my old factory's information from a old SKU to a new SKU. So what I'm trying to do here is that I'm trying to find all the IPX SKU product and update them into IP/10. So that's my goal here, from IPX to IP10. So let me just close this for a minute and show you how to work on this. Now, if I show all records again, let me go here, records, show all records, and I want to create a new field here. So I want to, let's call this new product code. I'm creating a new product code field, add it here, and let me just quickly paste it on the right hand side here. New code. So I just want to show you some very simple action as a starter. So make sure that this is a new product code. Click OK. So I can now type in new product code in here. Now what I want to do first is I want to show you how to use a script to update my existing, to update the new code. And what I want to do is that I want to make sure that, well, for now, I'm not doing all the complex calculation. I'm just trying to copy the data from my product code and paste it into the new code. So if I look back into my loop script, this time I don't really want to pause it. What I'm trying to do is I need to change my action. My action is not to pause. My action is to update the product from an old code to a new code. So here, let's write in here, old code to new code like this. Well, I will leave the pause here just for you to see better what's happening. Now there's a script called setField. Basically what setField does is that it updates this field in here. So I'm selecting to update the new product code field, and I want to paste in the old product code as a calculation here. Click OK. So if I run the script now, it's going to go to the first record of my database and start updating the new code with a duplicate of the product code in here. So click play, and you can see it's now automatically copy and pasting all the old product code information and into this new code field. Now it's super important to note that adding this pause is not necessary at all. I'm just doing it so that you can see a little bit better of what is happening behind the scene. So if I try to remove this pause script, it's going to give you a much more amazing result, because if you look into here now, these are all blank records. But if I click into this play button right now, everything is going to happen in an instant, because that's how fast usually the computer calculates. So if you know how to use a loop script, you can easily just calculate about 1,000 records in less than a second. So let me show you again by instead of pasting in the product code, I'm just pasting in empty. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to clear out all these fields back to an empty field. And I'm going to use a loop to do that as well. So when I click, well, focus on this part here. When I click, everything happened in an instance. 200 record is updated automatically. And let's revert this back to product code and click again. You can see it automatically pastes in the information from product code to the new product code on this side. Now, what I can also do is, as you probably know from the keynotes that I have, what I'm trying to do is I want to try to update the SKU of IP/X into IP/10. So I need to add in some sort of condition in here. Is that I don't want to just paste in all the code from the new product, from the old product to the new product. I want to selectively do it as well. So I want to find the item. If their product code is IPX, I want to update it to IP10 instead. So in order to write this code, I need to update my action in here. And my action can be an if exercise product code is equals to IPX. Then I'm going to, instead of updating this new product code to the old product code, I'm just going to update it to IP10 like this. And otherwise, if its product code is not IPX, else I'm going to just update the old product code like this. So let me try everything again, and if I click onto play button now, you will notice that something has changed. So if I look into the old IPX product code in here, you will notice that is updated to IP10. And if it's IP10, then nothing changed. If it's other product like IPS, then it's still IPS. So this is the power of loop. And even if you have 1,000 record, 20,000 record, it doesn't really matter, because if you use a loop to calculate this information, it's going to use the computer speed and calculate everything in an instant. And that's basically it for this tutorial. And in case you're wondering if I was able to successfully launch my database solution and get my promotion, I did, and it was a really good ending. And I even took it one step further and become a FileMaker developer, and the rest is history. So yeah, I guess this loop script is quite significant in my journey of becoming a FileMaker developer. So that's it for this tutorial, and as usual, if you want to download this sample file, you can go to the link in the description down below, along with other FileMaker resources. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.